I kind of was leaning with Chronicler myself, but I do think that, you know, the all honorable Judge Harrison did a great job moderating this.
Judge Harrison.
And so as we move into game 2, we'll see what more evidence we can find for these two teams. I do think something that was mentioned, perhaps in jest, by Chronicler there on the space, the Dplus representative, was game 1s often go well. It's what happens after that for Dplus in important matches that sometimes goes awry. In matches like this, though, like the match against B&K, they often do just close it out 2-0. Draft was a big part of the early game in game 1, and we'll see what it looks like now that Bro have side selection here in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the red side, I said it before, it struggled a lot, for sure. The draft, that's something I could agree with Cronny about. You know, the Sivir last pick just didn't really do it for me. Also, the Rel felt pretty lackluster, blind, and, you know, because Pantheon got played, it means that DK now, from the red side, get an extra ban. They're going to use it on the Yone, which Closer has been excellent on. And should be Azir to finish it off. Although with Taliyah available, maybe you want to flex it out and maybe see what you can go with. But
I think if you want to trade Rumble here, you can let them have Rumble and then grab a, you know, your pick of Azir, Taliyah. So you ban the other one away and then grab it, or you get Rumble plus Vi, for example. I think that's a pretty strong position here for Dplus. So say they take Taliyah, you get Rumble Vi. If they go Rumble, you know, you get the Taliyah plus Vi. You have a lot of different options here. You get two, and I think this is a nice little trap that's set up here for Dplus Gia, because the picks here for Bro, or the bans rather, are not high prio picks right now. So Dplus kind of get two awesome ones, and you only get one, and that's a little bit concerning here. I think Closer's Taliyah has been pretty good this year, and maybe that's the route he's going to take here. Instead, Wukong, which is fair.
I think Rumble is just kind of broken right now. I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick it up themselves.
Rumble plus Taliyah is kind of insane. It doesn't have a great synergy, both of them, but there's a ton of objective control and zoning with that. They can just go Rumble plus Jungle, which could be Vi, even though Vi hasn't been that great into Wukong. Or just pick Lucid's favorites. Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, he hovers.
He's just kind of going through all of his favorites here. Trundle?
Trundle, pretty good with the Rumble also, but not our favorite. A little bit less fun. But it's okay.
Yeah.
We know what he can do when he's got an Orianna as mid lane on this pick.
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't have it this time.
Flash into everybody and hope the guy presses R. Yorick, Taliyah. Taliyah makes a lot of sense. So Yorick as well has been a big one for Morgan. And he'll use that for the Rumble here.
Counter pick for this Taliyah is interesting. Could be Ryze in this situation, but it's not a strong counter pick, and there isn't a lot of great side lane set up here for it. And he'll just go for the Ahri that he likes a lot instead. We've been very critical of this pick, especially in drafts like this where it has seemingly no synergy with the rest of the picks, like at all, like not even a little bit. But when Showmaker pops off like he did against B&K, you kind of feel inclined to trust a little bit on the pick. I think that Pillar can help you set up a charm, but that's about as far as I can really give credit to this this mid jungle synergy.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I feel like on our team I'm the least Ahri hater out of all of us. It is a big drop off from the OPs, such as like the Azir, the Taliyah, Annie, Orianna, that we just saw in the last game. But I still feel like, you know, in the hands of the right player, especially if you are exerting a lot of pressure in mid lane, like Showmaker has done, it can be very good. We'll see if he can actually do it in this game, especially with a Trundle from the jungle. As now we're just banning away the 80 carries. Kai'Sa, Varus taken away.
You know, the Varus makes a lot of sense here. The Kai'Sa is pretty strong with the setup with the Taliyah, but it's not the greatest engaged setup for Kai'Sa follow-up that we've ever seen. I'm just kind of tier list banning right now. I like the Lucian ban a lot more because it's strong in the 2v2 and it just has relatively strong low-range burst follow-up to a Taliyah seismic shove. See what this final ban is going to be in terms of lane control. A lot of those picks are already gone. Just going to take Xayah, which is one of my least favorite picks into Wukong, which I've explained many times. I'm not going to explain it again, but
yeah,
it's not a bad ban. It's just not the most optimal, I would say. I'd rather see an Ezreal ban. Xerath would be very fun.
He's playing Jhin.
He's playing Jhin.
Xerath would be really fun, though, Wolf.
Yeah. This is a pick that Chronicler, I can tell, is probably gripping the desk a little bit more tightly when he sees, because he's not a biggest fan of Aiming's individual performances on Jhin, but when you have this much setup for it, Aiming performs decently well, even if there's a few mistakes along the way. Still ends up doing a lot of damage. Makes a large impact. And in terms of counter picks, there's just not a whole lot here. Just going to grab Rakan first, which means they still don't really have a plan as to what that AD carry is going to be. You could go for something a little bit more scaling here, or you could go for like Jinx and go, well, we've got enough setup to get resets and pop off. You go for the Zeri.
See a lot of shifting in the chair.
The Zeri makes sense because you have a ton of frontline, you have a ton of engage. The follow-up becomes relatively simple here. If they had the Rumble instead of the Yorick, I'd be like, man, this draft is great.
There's a big grin on the face of CV Max. As is he actually going to do it? Can handle the Wukong and the Rakan very, very nicely. Especially because those two have a ton of synergy together.
Yeah.
And Jhin Janna seems like a pretty strong lane, but he's just going to go with the Alistar or the Nautilus.
Nautilus is what I expected. Very strong in the Zeri. It's been one of the oldest counter picks in the book. Not a role specific, because it's not an AD carry, but is one of the great counters to Zeri because you click on her with your R button and then she gets done.
That's the way it works in League of Legends.
And then like Rumble presses R on top of her and Ahri gets in there and charms her.
Yeah.
And Jhin shoots from far away and you're like, okay, well that's kind of your win con down the drain. So Hype has to rely so much on closer Krako in these team fights. Paulo, to a lesser extent as well, he can be a great follow-up to the Wukong. It's been one of the strongest duos we saw when Wukong started to rise to popularity as the Wukong Rakan. My biggest concern is the way this draft came together for Bro didn't feel very confident in terms of how they lock those champions in at the end, which is often a sign of like, we can run this. We know it makes sense. We know it's good. Are we good at this? We'll have to find out when we lock in on the Rift here and everyone loads in. We got all 10 players on the server, but until then, I'm inclined to think that Comfort may just win out for Dplus on the other side. That's a pretty horrifying drawing.
Who is that, I wonder? I don't know. It just said, like, Charm Ping, basically.
I mean, I think we know who that means. It didn't look like him.
Yeah.
But there's only one Charmer in this roster.
It's true. Well, guys, we are ready to hop onto the Rift for game number 2. Let's do it.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, game number 2 on the cards here. We're in the final week of regular season play at the LCK. And this is the second to last game for both of these teams.
And just to remind everyone, Bro will play against their direct competition in DRX later this week. Depending on what happens in the rest of this series, that may just simply be the decider. It also depends on what happens with DRX in their match against BNK tomorrow. So, you know, if they end up losing that, Bro win this, then it's kind of a done deal. So, see what the early game looks like here, because this does feel like, for Bro, a draft where you can actually lane in the early game.
Yeah, that's helpful, Wolf. That sounds very helpful. Being able to play the game in the first 15 minutes.
Sometimes you just opt to not play the game and then you do things later.
To Bro and Brew.
Yeah. I didn't really think the arguments from our Bro representative about that made any sense to me. As if, like, the
I don't think they were supposed to make any sense.
No, I know.
Though.
But the Brew doesn't carry over into the second game. Also, if you just brew like they were doing in that game and never take any objectives, you'd end up losing out as well. As Palu's going to use his Q for sustain here, as Barrel looks for a little bit of a trade. Level 2 on the horizon here for Dplus very soon. Just one more for aiming to grab it. Well, they're going to crash this wave in. Krako is a Wukong. He's not going to come down here or do anything like that, even though he's nearby. Just some plate damage here and some potential CS deny.
Yeah.
Ends up being most of this going over to Hype anyways, right? Yeah, okay. Oh. Decent
some
of it. Some of it.
Yeah, some of it. Still counts. Mid lane should go the way of Showmaker slightly. Bot lane should go the way of DK's bot duo. And top lane, definitely a bit more even, especially early on.
Especially if you miss harpoons. Phew.
Yeah.
All right, the observer's calling him out there.
Whoa.
Oh, a little bit of a drop-off for Wukong. Only some legend Wukongs seem to be getting the W's there.
I think by this, they're saying that no Rise Wukongs have won. And we had the evidence right there.
They clearly removed the Wukong from the Wukong A. They identified in their previous game, the stat was really Annie-focused, not Wukong Annie-focused. They were like, it was a trap all along.
And really he got another win. 13-2 now. Looking to lock down the Rakan here, expecting the grand exit, and there is going to be the flash from Palu just to be 100% sure.
Nice pillar placement there from Lucid to make sure he has to use that flash. Expects the grand entrance, was able to cut him off there, very close to death. And even a Trundle, you know, can make an impact at level 4. Like it seems like it's hard to do that, especially into Rakan, but if you play it that well, you have that Nautilus. Very powerful setup there in the bottom side. Lucid will just take his opportunity back right after that. Grab his longsword, a little bit of extra health. And it's a quiet early game otherwise here. You know, no flash for the Rakan. Doesn't necessarily matter pre-6.
Yeah, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I think that they're not really going to look for opportunities in the bottom lane for quite a while. This is getting very Shu favored. And I feel like Morgan should be a bit more okay than he is. Yes, Rumble is very OP. That is why it was chosen, selected here as the first pick on red side.
Morgan's just brewing. You see that Riot Games flag next to the turret? You know, we can't see it now, but it's still left of his turret.
I see one right there to the left of Morgan.
Yeah, there's another. That's not the one I mean, though. The one that says, like, Riot Games in text, like, English on it. Well, eventually we'll see. But anyway, he's got a coffee machine hidden back there because he's hanging out on the turret. He's brewing.
The root comes down. That's going to be barrier and heal used from both sides in that trade.
Why'd you say I see? You clearly couldn't see it. You clearly couldn't see what I was talking about the flag there.
Yeah, I was lying. You caught me in a lie.
Yeah, no, I
was just straight up lying.
You think you could just lie in front of thousands of people on the internet and get away with it?
I just couldn't help myself, you know. I had to get it. I had to do it. Sorry,
see the flag there, right there.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a coffee machine right back there. He's brewing.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
You can make it out, right?
Yeah. Ooh, equalizer here. Level 6, and... Oh, no, Morgan, not like this. As the evidence from Degon not really coming to fruition.
Right before his coffee was done.
Although Crazy Kroko? No, just the TP. Just going to come through. And that's first blood in a solo kill going over to Shiyu.
Yeah, this matchup can go both ways, but usually the Rumble doesn't get this much control, but he has level 6 advantage. And he just drops the equalizer between... The between wall and turret is never really where you want to be in this situation because it makes it impossible to avoid the equalizer, but he wants to avoid everything else from Shiyu, so he's just hugging the left side there. Next to his coffee maker, of course, and just gets burned to a crisp. The coffee is still safe, though, don't worry.
That's good. We might need that, depending on the way this day does go. Although at this point, might be a bit of a shorter one if it continues in this direction. No flash, no TP here for Shiyu, so he's like, okay, backing way up. I already got the value out of the solo kill. He does not have his equalizer, and he's going to come back to the wave when he needs to be here to pick up the cannon. And pretty much the entire wave.
It's not the end of the world because, like you said, the wave's going to get caught here, but it's a relatively even CS situation up here on the top side. Yorick, he's going to build some MR here. Is going to be okay in this matchup. Still going to have a lot of push, a lot of side lane pressure that Rumble will not have. Shiyu had to use his teleport to get away if he had gotten the gank off and gotten a free back and then was able to keep his TP, things would be a lot worse. Morgan gets to TP back to lane. But the fact that Rumble gets the gold eventually can become a problem, especially if Dplus are able to turn this into an early fight win on Grubs, for example. Grubs will be spawning in 45 seconds. Lucid's on the top side of the map. And there's a lot of great strong points for both of these compositions at level 6 on the Grub fight, like Wukong's ultimate now online, the Subjugate, the Equalizer. Obviously, Ahri going to get a ton of mobility out of her Spirit Rush as well, as Weaver's Wall can be good for zoning. We may just have an all-out brawl here on Grubs if both teams feel like they have the setup because they're so strong at level 6, and it's just going to be one of those early fights with these two compositions that may be not the game decider, but certainly momentum decider, much more than just a simple 1,000 gold lead here and an early Rumble kill. Which is significant in its own right, but
yeah,
this could be a way back in for Bro if they get the right setup is what I'm getting at.
Speaking of setups, big rotations up from the side of Barrel and Aiming. Gonna get the hook here on Apollo, who's gonna have to go over the wall. Has his flashback at least. Both of our supports have TP at the same time. Level 6 hit here by Barrel as he walks through mid lane. And so, really staking their claim on the Grubs.
I don't think Bro
is coming in.
I don't know if Bro should really look to fight this. They're gonna teleport the Rakan, who again does not have ult like you say. Barrel does.
Yeah, I don't really think you can fight this. They're trying to get on top of Shiyu, though, as the Equalizer comes down, and immediately Bro is like, well, we got to turn around now. Bit of damage is done to Shiyu as in comes the Spirit Rush. Krako trying to engage. The rest of the team not able to follow up at all as the charm comes through after the flash here. And now finally we have Closer coming on in. Morgan has to flash the wall himself, but bit of extra damage comes in from Showmaker. Flash on him with the Q. Gets the kill on a Krako. That's going to be a big win here in the early game for DK as they're getting the Grubs, they're getting the top plates, they're getting the kills, Wolf.
You know, the crazy thing about, I keep criticizing Ahri in these drafts because so many times in pro games, you see Ahri Vi, let's just say, for example. Why? Because it's so simple as, oh, press R to interrupt a back. Barrel's going to do that as they get another plate here, but Ahri works well with Vi because Vi ults in, you can't miss your charm, right? It's guaranteed, it's great synergy. We even see this with Viego, for example, where the charm gets up, the Viego stun, or vice versa. Showmaker's just like, I don't need all that. I don't need that setup. I flash in, I get that max range Q, I kill the bad guys. That's what I do. And when you can have this kind of performance on the Ahri in these skirmishes, she's incredibly powerful in early game skirmishes because of her dash resets, because of how mobile she is, because of all the agents she has. And I thought this was actually a team fight that was really well played by both sides. Bro, we're like, we can't fight this on the Grubs themselves. Let's push for Shield.
Uh-oh.
Hype. We'll lose his flash. Thought maybe that could have been something more.
Yeah. But yeah, it did feel like Bro were kind of scrambling to get up there and set something up. And I don't know, the TP that came in from Palu to try to set up the kill onto the Rumble. The Rumble, Shiyu just turns around. He's like, I've already got one mask. It's not even the full mask, but it's just a guise.
The only way to win that fight, I think, is to try to pull Dplus around, and I think Dplus, maybe of 2 weeks ago, completely whiffed the turn there, don't coordinate how they play it out, and maybe you just pick them apart as they kind of filter in. Instead, again, I think this call to push onto Shiyu is the only option you have if you're going to teleport in here as the Rakan. Unfortunately, the Equalizer is really good, gets the slow, which allows him to cook them, and then Showmaker comes in here, offers a ton of damage, and even though Krako's rotation here is correct, he's not able to, with the second activation of Cyclone, hit anybody, and they don't have the damage anyways. The Weaver's Wall so incredibly late, and then watch this from Showmaker. Wall's not going to stop this guy. Bam! Almost takes Morgan out as well. Imagine that's a double. Like, Showmaker's like, it doesn't matter. I don't need setup.
He just gets the kills. And he did get the one kill. He got the 2 stacks on his Dark Seal already. As Subjugate going to be utilized here. They want to fight big time. Lucid just running in a straight line at them. As now we have the hook to come in. Palu forced to engage onto the Ahri. That's not going to work out. As now Hype 1v3. We do have the knockback is huge from Closer. But a bit of damage over the wall. And Hype is all alone. The charm comes in. And yes, they lost their Nautilus, as Closer now wants to do a bit more. And it looks like they should be able to take out Lucid, or maybe not, actually. The flash over the wall, and he is going to be just fine. And even Showmaker just playing with his food, just making room for Aiming to push them away. And Dplus get away with way too much in
They
that
get
fight.
so much out of this. It was so close to being a certifiable Zeri moment there. I thought, Matt, maybe I'd actually get to explain why yesterday we didn't have the Zeri moment certified, but I guess this just isn't going to be the game. As the situation here for Bro is quite awkward because you don't have a lot of information. If Kroko goes in instantly there onto Showmaker and Closer follows up, maybe there's an angle there, but they don't have enough information. They commit here when they see it's 3, but aiming is already here. And even though Hype shows up with this amazing ult angle here, and the shove is fantastic from Closer, the focus here onto him, the charm, Showmaker's lack of fear, just goes in and completely takes him out as then Closer commits in further. Showmaker gets away. Actually insane with aiming here. Closer tries to do damage over the wall here, and look at Showmaker dodging the threaded volley. Insane. Like that, he should have been dead. Like by rights. Like there were so many reasons why Showmaker should not have walked out alive. And you know what? I think it's a Majai's game. You don't die there. You buy Majai's 100% if you're Showmaker. I'm not losing any stacks this game. Luck is on my side.
Yeah, I mean, he probably will at some point. He has the 4 stacks, as it's going to be Cloud Soul as well. Feels just really fantastic for DK from ahead.
It's great for Bro's comp too. It's just that they're so far away from it.
Yeah, it's going to take quite a while to get that online. But yeah, it would be insane. Like Zeri, Wukong, Rakan, everybody just loving that one.
Yeah, I think it's like way better for Bro, but they're 2 dragons away from it. So each individual dragon's movement speed will feel nice. But you know, we need to win team fights first. And with a near 3,000 gold deficit here at 13.5 minutes, I mean, last game we didn't have any kills at this point. The snowball is well and truly rolling down the hill. It's not Talia's. She doesn't have a snowball, but like she has ice, so it's kinda...
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that one. As now, even holding on to the subjugation, says Lucid, they don't even need that, as that's going to be another kill and 2 more stacks for Showmaker. This game is already getting out of hand. It's 14 minutes in. This is when we had first blood in game 1, you remember.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, this is like, last game was one-sided. This game, again, every objective is Dplus's. Like, not a single grub to Bro, just like last game.
Yeah.
It's insane, but this time they have all the extra kills. They have this Rumble that's starting to get out of control, who's looking for first brick. Which doesn't even matter, because they already got feats of strength, but he's going to take it just the same.
Yeah. All 3 going their way. And, I mean, I'm just really surprised they gave over the Rumble, especially to someone like Shiu, who, yeah, he had a big dip, a big slump, but it only lasted like a week or something, week and a half. The guy is definitely back and ready to play, and they gave him the strongest top laner on the patch. It's just a little bit surprising. I think there's a lot of issues with this game.
There's a lot.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they lost because they gave over Rumble, but...
It's comfort that is given over to a lot of these players on Bro, right? Like, Closer's Talia, phenomenal, right? Best individual of the year, I've been saying. But it has caught up with him a little bit. We'll get more on the comp later, as we are going to have a bit of a fight here on Herald.
All right, they're engaging onto the Trundle. Definitely not the right choice here, as Kroko getting extremely low. Might live because of the redemption. So much going down, but no, he's going to fall. The Rift Herald also goes over to DK, and it's kind of a lackluster attempt from Bro to try to fight over this objective. They wanted to sneak it away, and instead they're going to end up losing a bunch of lives, plus the objective, which is going to be summoned here in the mid lane.
And, I mean...
Yeah.
Is that just it? Did Bro just get 2-0'd, like with not even a whimper? It feels in this entire series. I guess so. You know, this is not the Bro we saw crush Dplus the last 2 times. He's gonna get another charge here.
Easy.
Top
the angle.
Bye-bye.
But wait, it was already dead. They used it again.
Shiu is like getting insane value of his passive, hitting turrets with auto attacks. Auto attack, gets silence, and boom, attack speed going in hot on that turret.
I like how you said hot because it's Rumble.
He's overheated.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, this barrel engage doesn't even hit, but Kroko defensively cyclones here. Lucid is the target, like you mentioned, but there's just no synergy in this fight. Even the equalizer is like, what did it even do? It doesn't matter. They just lost the fight instantly off of the positioning there. Dplus were able to collapse better. And Bro just not prepared to fight with this Hexplate Zeri at this point in the game. Hexplate feels so good when you're ahead. Does not feel as great when you're behind.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Hexblade Zeri going to feel pretty tanky. Trying to hide on bush here, in this bush specifically, which, yeah, that's a Rakan. Paulo's like, yeah, I don't want any piece of that. Majai's already purchased.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. It's Showmaker.
It's just the fact that it's already online is it's just not okay. Kaka gonna have to flash away. That's not what you want to do on the Wukong. So now Bro are like, well, we got to do something, right? We're gonna go in. We're gonna try to take the fight, but instead it just leads to total disaster because they're not even going to get Barrel. It just seems kind of very half-hearted at the moment. Since now the flash on in, they're gonna get the clone.
Shiu just not even here, by the way. Just want to point that out. He shows up now.
Yeah, Morgan is just dead as well on top of it all. Had his flash, didn't even bother to use it. He knows 100%. Trying desperately to set up for the Cloud Drake, but instead they just fall flat on their face. Dubro and DK this far ahead can't miss.
I just starting to wonder like what Shiu's damage to turrets is in this game because he seems to not be in team fights a lot. The call here from Bro, when you know Shiu is topside, kind of makes sense if you're able to hit this engage as Palu. It's kind of insane, right? The problem is that you're playing into so much peel here. You're in this choke point where Pillar is going to get insane value. Showmaker has utility with his charm. And then this Jhin is just like, thanks for coming right into my playhouse. And then Shiu finally shows up. Like, I think Bro really thought they could capitalize on this moment while the Rumble wasn't there and didn't have TP. But they lost the fight before he even showed up, and then he's just able to get that exit kill onto Morgan. 3,000 gold the lead on a Rumble that has been laning well, but has mostly just been hitting turrets. Like, he's 3-0-3, he's got big numbers, but it's kind of wild that it feels like Dplus have been winning this game through just crazy skirmishes that Bro have opted into with poor coordination, and Dplus just constantly go like, thanks for the opportunity. And this game now, with the 7,000 gold lead at sub 20 minutes, sub 19 minutes, Dplus are like, I'll take any opportunity to fight. Like, you can't win anymore.
Yeah. This is a really important series for Bro as well. Like, they desperately want as many game wins as possible, even one. So maybe the pressure is kind of getting to them. I'm not 100% sure, but they have played much better against DK, against other teams in the Rise group in rounds 3 to 5.
There's a combination of several things at play here. Dplus's current form and Bro's current form not lining up for Bro. You know, there was a bit of a pendulum swing there. And then you have things like the draft, for example. Both drafts have been a little bit shaky for Bro. This feels like a round 1, round 2 Bro draft where Morgan's like, I'm one of the best Yoriks in the league. It's a little bit fringe, but I'll play it. And we're like, oh yeah, he's pretty good at that. It's not winning, but I can respect how good he is at it. Now he's just picking it by giving Rumble over them, playing into it. They're losing lanes substantially, getting solo killed. Like, it's kind of a disaster. This feels super dated. What we're seeing here from Bro, hype, fantastic Zeri player. Like I mentioned the comfort on this before. He played it a ton in Challengers, one of his best picks, but find yourself behind. He had that one opportunity to get accelerated. He failed. This is going to be a bit late.
Yeah, they're at least going to get the knockback, but he still had Celestial opposition. So Barrel's like, yeah, cool story. Pillar's going to come down. Now he's going for the re-engage. And even if he goes down, they're all baited into this fight big time. Exhaust goes down onto the Trundle, who really does not care about that at all. The Showmaker just stacking up more and more Majai stacks as if he needed any more. Lucy going to steal that kill, but he's still going to hit 20. And this game was over before this fight, but DK really putting the final nail in the coffin.
When you're behind a Zeri and you have Hexplate, you're not doing as much damage. The movement speed, the health isn't going to matter as much when you're the last man standing with everyone else on the enemy team at full health. And I think when he decided to start building that item, he did not expect, or at least not hope, that his team was going to be this far behind at 20 minutes. But you can see in some of these fights, he's doing what Zeri can do in these situations. He has his Runins now. Would have loved to have it way earlier. But yeah, Shiu, he's done a lot of damage to turrets. He continues to hit this one, but his damage to champions also top in the game. He's just kind of roasting Bro, as Chronicler probably will be doing to Degon in the space after this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is, you know, they're going all in onto Celestial Opposition Nautilus, and they're pushing very far up the lane. It's again, it just kind of looks like desperation, Wolf.
It almost looks like the pillar is a Talia shove. You know, the pillar placement's so fantastic there from Lucid. He gets 2 knocked up there. And then Hype, he's trying so desperately. But he's just, his team is too far behind. And if there's a world where this game extends 10 more minutes, maybe he could be the hero. I just right now cannot see it. There's bounty gold to potentially be grabbed here. Shiu says absolutely not. I'm going to equalize.
Yeah. One harpoon to the face of Hype just means he's basically out of the fight. They're going to try to get the objective bounty, which I think they do get, but they're also going to lose an inhibitor for it. I mean, I suppose it's all you can do at this point. By the way, Baron can't even spawn yet. We're not even there. They're just getting an inhibitor in the bottom lane. And it looks like Cloud Soul on the way for them at the same time.
Yeah, they're just going to back up and set up for that. They already have all vision on the bottom side. Like
this Otacon, you know?
This is the reason why this trade makes so much sense for Dplus is there's more than just a inhibitor at stake. Is Shiu maybe losing a bounty?
Hide on Bush. As he flashes on in, Hype is dead 100%. Shiu looking for more. Thankfully, there's a lot of people here.
I mean, Closer picks up 1,000 gold, but they're on that Otacon. And there's a super minion wave heading down both mid and bottom lane that is going to have to be cleaned up here for Bro. This is just going to be a freebie, double objective in return. If Hype gets the kill there, if Shiu doesn't flash on him and kill him, and Hype picks up 1,000 gold, maybe you could dream. Like, you could try to make up a scenario in your head where, like, maybe that Zeri will carry. I'm sure Dagon's doing it right now as we speak. He's like, hold on, maybe we get to the late game. But then Shiu's like, you want 1,000 gold for your Zeri? I'm just not going to allow that. Sure, it gets picked up here by the Talia, which is still a big win, but you wanted that on your Zeri so badly. That's why you made the play, and what you give up is double inhibs, double objective. Cloud Soul and Dplus are grinning ear to ear.
Yes.
You see on some of the player cams.
Yes, they are grinning. Big time. And, yeah, I mean, they just basically have everything Infinity. It's just finished now for aiming. Third item. It's a rough one for the Bros, for the Giga Chads. You know, they haven't really had an angle at all in this entire game, so it's going to be rough. This is not really the series they wanted to have going into their series against DRX later this week. And I'm just curious now how that one's going to turn out, especially if DRX can manage to get a win against BNK. Which I don't believe I predicted.
It's a tough one to call.
I don't think that's really the angle for DRX though, you know.
I don't think I predicted either. I think I predicted DRX against Bros. Closer goes for Hail Mary. Barrel celestially opposed to being picked off.
All right. Well, we got TPs coming in. Shiu is right here. This is an excellent angle for the equalizer. He hits all three of them. And now he is actually going to get knocked up before that Zhonya's does go off. I believe he had that, which is why he was so aggressive. And yeah, doesn't matter because the rest of the team is here. And they will do enough damage to take them down eventually. As Lucid, very tanky, can just kind of dive the turret. But with the Maiden there, actually, he's taking a bit more damage than I expected. Nice ghoulie wall to come in, but Showmaker is here with 25 stacks on the Majais. And this game, guys, is over and has been over for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, certainly one of the faster games here this week as Dplus decimate OK Savings Bank BRION. And a match that means very little for Dplus and a match that for Bro meant almost everything. Now, that matchup against DRX at the end of the week is their last stand they can make. We'll see what again happens against BNK for DRX.